Oh, hello. Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing? I hope you're all well. We've got crazy constant COVID cases down here in Florida. It's insane. But it's weird. It's like we get a range of the most horrible thing that's ever happened to a person, or really wasn't that bad. So I hear all of these things about the kids from the parents, and goodness gracious, I hope you all are well. Okay, we're going to start off with Holly, and Holly's notes are right here. She's got her information about her camera, and I love that you were pleased about this shoot, Holly, and I think that you make a really good point here. You never know what kind of weather or lighting situation you're going to be in. So this whole light bracketing thing, it's so helpful. Okay, so just reading. Okay, bathroom window light, it's just beautiful. And it's interesting to me how beautiful it came out, even though it's like the light is coming from behind the subject. And that's, I think that just is showing your success with the bracketing. So 1/15 of a second is really slow. I wonder if you used a tripod. So I'm curious about that. So let's go look at your first image. Oh, I think it's up here, yeah. Yeah, so, such a slow shutter speed, and it's just still too bright, So, yes, that exposure bracketing is super helpful here. And here's your perfect exposure. And I agree, it is perfect. I see plenty of detail in every area. And that beautiful soft light surrounding your subject. I'm guessing you must have used a tripod because these are each identically framed. And then there's your darker, underexposed. I'm thinking that this might be actually a beautiful photo to layer as an HDR image, and that might bring out even more detail from the colors and the layers in your background through the window, and because I think that's so beautiful. Yeah, it's so fun to look at these. So I'm in Bridge, by the way. Yeah, but I do think that this is perfectly exposed, so bravo, Holly. Wonderful work. Everything looks great. Okay, let's move on to, I think Ivy is next. Okay, here's Ivy's notes. So she had a faster shutter speed, and I love that you guys are using ISO 100. That makes me so happy. This is the first class, the third time I've taught it, but the first class that's actually listening to me about ISO. I don't know what it is. It's not that hard to set it. And then, especially when you're printing, you're going to get much higher quality images. You don't want to have pixelated images when you print, because that's just sad. It just ends up, if you end up going anywhere with this, with photography, and you're eventually printing for a customer, if you've gotten this most amazing, beautiful, gorgeous shot that you don't think you'll ever be able to capture again, and then it's all pixelated in the print, really just so frustrating. So, like I said, I recommend ISO 100 and just set it and forget about it. Okay, so you did the different shutter speeds to show different quantities of light. Wow, you've got a lot of F numbers on your camera. This is like a third of a stop here. So let's take a look. Am I going the wrong way? Looks like it. Hold on, there we go. Okay, so this one is just look again. This one is 1/25th, 1/125th of a second. You have a F number of 4.5, which is pretty small. Actually, pretty large. Small number, large window. And it's interesting because it is really pretty clear throughout. And then your next image. Okay, so here you've got a shutter speed of 1/200th of a second. About the same aperture. So we've got, you know, this frozen moment. And it's interesting that it's like a cloudy day, but your animals are properly exposed. I mean, look at these gorgeous puppies. They're so cute. I love how they stand out against a darker background. Of course, I would have probably straightened this photo, but we'll get to that once we get to our portfolio. Okay, and then here you've got the plant with a really fast shutter speed. 1/320th of a second. And let's see, the aperture is really about the same, but you got a nice shallow depth of field here. I think this one, I would say it's underexposed, and that's probably because of the fast shutter speed. It's a little dark, but it's nice. It's nice how you have the light coming through the plant. I think that's beautiful. If this were all my image, I would probably either like pump up the exposure a little bit, you know, raise the exposure, increase the exposure, and I'd probably increase the saturation as well if I were editing it. But very well done, Ivy. I hope you enjoyed this experiment. Okay, next is, this is Madison. Okay, this is Madison. Actually, this is from Unit 3. Excuse me. So this is your edited photo from the photo walk, I believe. And you made it darker, which is really interesting to me because it feels a little underexposed, but it's such a moody picture. Isn't it weird that plants can be moody? It's just the darkness and this reflection area. It's so cool. I think that actually might have brightened your berries, just bringing that exposure down a little bit. So very nicely done. And here as well, Madison, looks like you reduced the exposure and made it a little darker. I'm going to have to show you guys how to do selective changes. Like, wouldn't it have been cool if you could see the horse's faces a little better? I mean, this is lovely. The light, the angle of the light coming on one side. And so you get to see a little bit of details here. And this is like a beautiful I can't think of what to call it. It's like a side-lit portrait of a horse. And I love side lighting. So lighting from one side or the other. So whereas, I mean, this horse looks amazing. This horse we can't see really at all. It's like completely in darkness. So I probably would have chose to increase the exposure a little bit for this one. But still, I'm so happy that you experimented and tried things out. I wonder if it's because of the background. Maybe the background was a little overexposed. So what you've done is globally, which is a way of saying everything in the image, you've darkened, probably to make this background more detailed. And so we have almost a silhouette in this case right here. So interesting choice. Okay, and here's the last one. Remember this one. I think what you've done here is increased the contrast quite a bit, which darkened the image and increased the saturation at the same time. So, I mean, I love seeing the red color of the horse, but I think this one is a little bit over. Just a little bit. So it's really pretty colors, and I find it very interesting that you like a darker image. I don't have any problem with that. It's a creative choice. Okay, let's see who's next. This is Madison. This is Madison from Unit 4. I love this picture. It's beautiful. What a sweet little pup. You got some light coming through his or her eyes. I'm going to guess it's a her, but I really don't know. Beautiful colors, beautiful composition, the way you have the pup over to one side, and this soft depth of field in the background. That is lovely. So well done on that image. And here is your shutter speed photo. I'm guessing this one's depth of field, right? And there's your shutter speed photo with the frozen motion. You still get a little bit of blur. He must have been, or she, running very fast. And then this was your bracketing photo, or your hold on one second. Sorry. So this was your light meter reading, and I noticed some things about it. I think it is well exposed. I think it has a super shallow depth of field. I mean, look at this plant over here, how we can see a lot of detail in the leaves. And then right here with this vine. And the pumpkin itself is just like a little step back. So it's a little bit blurred. And then the stem of the pumpkin, more blurred. So wow, what a shallow focus this is. But I do think it's well exposed, so well done there. Okay, and this is Melissa. Now, Melissa, let me look at your information here, your notes. So Melissa says she's still having a challenge with the light meter. If your light meter app is confusing, then it's not helpful. So as long as you know to go one stop lighter, whether you use shutter speed or aperture, that's the same as light meter and bracketing. You don't have to use an app. Some apps are great, some are too complicated for our purposes. So I'm going to recommend that you don't use the app. And especially if it's telling you to shoot everything at f8 and just change the shutter speed, which is common practice. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about researching those light meter apps because it's giving you trouble. Okay, let's take a look at these. I love that you show what your editing is. That's so cool. the best notes of the week. Congratulations. So, also, I think you were a little worried that you weren't getting enough clarity in your images. And I think this has, the truck has beautiful clarity. Gorgeous. It's got a brilliant shine to it. It might be a tad underexposed, but I can understand that with the lighting conditions. Okay, so it's in the shade and it's cloudy. Thank you for not using a flash. But I like it. I like it a lot. So, and then this area is probably your only area where maybe you might have lost a little detail, and that's just because it's got such a shine on it. And I don't mind it. I really like the shine. So I see you increasing the exposure each time and being very careful not to overexpose. So that's smart. And here is the schoolhouse. Very cool. And I love that you're staying with a theme here of just a slight underexposure. Again, because it's partly cloudy. So this is, okay, this one, wow, 1/40th of a second. It must have been very dark. And then this one, 1/25th of a second. And yet they appear to be shot on the same day. Do you see what I mean? Same cloudiness. Okay, this image I really love. I think this is beautiful. On one hand, it's a photo of an artwork. You know, this right here. But you brought enough information into it to make it your own. I think it's beautiful. I think the outside is a little bit overexposed. And this is a really tough situation. You've got the indoor area, which is very dark, and then the outdoor area, which is very light. So, wow, that's a difficult image, and I think you did a beautiful job. Okay, now you've got your 3 light meter readings with this little plant, little cutie. Okay, so this is aperture priority. You used a tripod, nice. Okay, so this is 1/50th. 1/100th, so faster shutter speed, you know. It opens so fast and closes so fast that there's not enough chance for the light to get in. And then here you've got 1/25th of a second, so that's much slower. And I like how you did a full stop each time, so that's smart. I guess you picked up on that, so I'm really proud of you. So what I mean by a full stop is 1/25th was her slowest shutter speed with this one, and then 1/50th is like double. So that is one stop faster. And then again with 1/100th, that's double 1/50th, so it's one stop faster again. So you see what I'm saying? I mean, it's math, but that's a pretty easy example to figure out. So yes, lovely, and I like how it's straight. I do see a little bit of curvature here, and that's from your lens. I've got to maybe visit that in Camera Raw with you so you can see how to correct that. Okay, here's Melissa's notes, which I just looked at and explained. Very well done. Okay, now we've got Sydney. Alright, let's see Sydney's notes. Okay, Sydney said all of them have a shutter speed of 1/80th of a second. Okay, 1/100th. Shutter speed of 1/80th and 1/100th. So that's hard to see a difference. It's not, it's not like a full stop. It's just like part of a stop, so a fraction. I like that you kept it on 1/100 for your ISO. So this is a very dark subject matter, but I think that this works well. This is a good exposure. For the subject matter. And then I'm guessing one of these is 1/80th and one is 1/100th. Wow, that is a big difference. Such a slight change in the shutter speed. I wonder which one you preferred. These two might be a good example for layering as well. Okay, so these I would say are a light metering example, bracketing. And then this is just an interesting image that's, not really part of the experiment, I think. Okay, and then next comes, okay, Sydney. I know you were worried because I know that you've been ill and couldn't get out of the house, but I think you did beautiful work this week. I mean, this is a great picture. When we get into foodie photos, you're going to want to use something like this, or maybe you could try something like this for like candlelight with food is always so pretty. And then your outdoor example. Great difference in the shutter speeds, and this is so pretty. I wouldn't say it's tack sharp, it's very soft, but you still have a very shallow depth of field, and yeah, I think that that's really pretty. I love the reflections in the glass. I am a sucker for reflections. So I think you did a wonderful job considering, you've been very ill. So congratulations, Sydney. It sounded like I said Cindy. Okay, now it's just our directions for this week. Okay, looks like that's it for today. Yep, looks like everybody. So I think I'll do a quick tutorial about other things we can do besides editing and Camera Raw. I think that would be helpful this week, since we're all experimenting with Raw now. And please let me know if there's anything else I can help you with, or any other questions I can answer for you. I am so happy to help, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.